Take one. So the first kick we'll look at today is front snap kick, ap cha bosigi. This kick reaches the target with the ball of the foot. So the foot will be pushed forward and the toes pulled back. And it's the area just behind the toes that we're using to contact the target. It's a snapping kick, and that means we're not going to freeze the kick on impact. We're going to pull it back as quickly as we possibly can after the impact. Let's have a look at a few of them. Each time it's going to come and finish in walking stance. So, a few quick things to consider. First things, from the walking stance, we're going to lift our knee and we try to get the knee higher than the hip when aiming for hip level with the kick. Second thing is, we want the heel very close to the backside. So, this way. We're even forming the foot tool with the toes pulled back right from the beginning. From there, we're pushing the foot forward, extending and hitting at the hip level. Recover. We balance, soften the opposite knee, and return to our start position. So let's see that in full speed with a little bit of an emphasis on the balance. So from here, we want to find that moment of balance before we return. Take one. Take one. Our next kick is called ap cha oligi, front rising kick. And while this can be used as a blocking technique, initially we're really teaching this as a stretching exercise, a dynamic stretching exercise, so in movement. The goal will be to move the leg under control as high as possible and return to balance. So just like this. The leg is straight the whole way from the stance to the top position and back down to balance. For our balance, we want to finish before the foot hits the floor, still with the toes pulled back and the heel showing, and then soften the knee and return to our walking stance. All the way through the kick, we want to keep the standing foot pointing forwards and completely flat on the floor. We want to think tall, keeping our head and our chin up and our hands by our sides for balance. Take one. Take one. We're going to look at outer forearm low block in walking stance. And walking stance we already know, but just to go over it, Gunnan Sugi walking stance is 1.5 shoulder widths from the front big toe to the back big toe. 1.5 shoulder widths from the front big toe to the back big toe. The front knee is bent so that the kneecap is in line with the heel on the front leg. The back foot is turned outwards 25 degrees. And both feet are a shoulder width apart, measured from the middle of the foot to the middle of the foot. The low block is with the outer forearm. So just this last part of the forearm here, okay, behind the wrist for about 2.5, 3 inches. That's where we're looking to block with. This is back at palmuk, outer forearm. We're going to prepare with the blocking hand on top. So the one with my watch on is on top here. So as I move through the movement, on top and a backward motion, and I block. So the knuckle here will be on the center line, which means that the blocking tool is going to cover the abdomen, just the left abdomen here, or if my right leg is in front, the blocking tool will cover the right lower abdomen, okay, in this way. We're going to use this to block perhaps a front kick coming towards us or a low punch, something along those lines. So let's have a look at a few. course, we can use this movement going forwards for multiple steps and backwards for multiple steps, and that'll look like this. Take one. So the technique we're going to look at next is parallel stance punch. Narani Sugi Ap Chamuk Charugi. We're going to start with the parallel stance. We're going to be placing our feet shoulder width apart, all toes pointing forward. And that's it. That's the whole thing. From there, we're going to talk about the punch. So our punch is hitting with the two four-fist knuckles. Okay, so here, just these two knuckles right here, and nothing else. And they're going to hit to the center line, under your chin, and at the shoulder height. The punch, when it's finished, looks like this. So there's a few little things that we need to consider. First of all, hands, feet, eyes, and breath all together at the very end. It's coordinated. Second, we are raising and dropping the body weight. We do that by pushing up onto the toes and then dropping as we change our hands. We have an action and a reaction. So as my punch extends, the other hand returns to the hip. And we want to save our twist for the very, very, very end of the movement. The reaction hand will be placed on the hip, so right on the hip bone, with the palm facing directly upwards, or the back of the hand facing downwards. So we're going to go for 4. And as you can see, there should be a sharp exhale at the end of the movement. Take one. Take one. So next we're going to look at sitting stance punch. Anand Sugi Ap Chamuk Charugi. So first the sitting stance. Going to place our feet 1.5 shoulder widths apart. So that's measured from the big toe of the left foot to the big toe of the right foot. 1.5 shoulder widths apart. We need to keep both feet pointing directly forwards, equal weight on both legs, 50-50, and we press the knees out until the knee is over the toes, okay? From here, as you move, you'll be relaxing into the stance, lowering your weight, raising the body, and dropping. If we look at this from the side, the knees are moving out, extending, and pressing back out. Very important that we're not traveling forwards and backwards and bringing our hips into this movement. And then we add the punch. So, let's have a look at a few. The idea here is that the punch is the exact same as in parallel stance. That is to say, the knuckles, four-fist knuckles, are on the center line of the body and in line with your shoulders, so the shoulder height. You have a reaction hand pulling right back to the hip, palm up, and the back of the hand facing down. You have the eyes, hands, feet, and breath together. Nothing has changed there. But we do have one more component with this one. We need to relax at the beginning and lower our body weight. We raise, extending the arm, pulling the reaction hand back, and then drop. Once again from the side. We relax, softening the arms, raise, extending the arm, pulling the reaction hand back, and drop. Let's have a look at 4 of these. Take one. Take one. So now we're going to look at walking stance, middle four-fist punch. Gonansugi, Kayonde, Ap Chamuk Charugi. And first of all, the walking stance. So we're going to take a step forward, quite a long step, 1.5 shoulder widths from the front big toe to the back big toe. The front knee is bent until the front knee, or the front of the knee, lines up with the heel on the front leg. The back leg is kept completely straight and the back foot will turn out 25 degrees, very small amount. For this particular technique, we're going to be full facing. That means the shoulders face directly forwards. Like the parallel stance punch and sitting stance punch, we are doing the exact. So when we want to use this technique, one after the other, going forwards or going backwards, we need to relax the body in between. And that will look like this. On the way forwards, we're going to soften both knees as the body weight drops and simply carry through, raising the body and drop into the punch. When we go backwards, we're going to soften the back knee, push from the front leg, move through, raising the body and drop to finish the technique. Take one. Take one. Now we're going to perform inner forearm middle block. And that's the first block that's going to prepare with the blocking hand coming from underneath. Though we're going to stay with our walking stance. So, my blocking hand is going to come underneath the reaction hand when we prepare. I have my backward motion. And my finished position looks like this. The knuckles are as high as the shoulder. My arm is 90 degrees at the elbow. I'm blocking in the shoulder line. And my shoulders are half facing, with the opposite hand coming back to the hip. Take one. Take one. Now we're going to look at knife hand low block in walking stance. So Gunansugi, Sankol, Najunde Maki. So this is like the outer forearm low block, but we're going to use a different blocking tool. So we're going to use this part of the hand, Sankol or knife hand, from the knuckle of the baby finger back to the wrist. Okay? So we're going to prepare just the same as the outer forearm low block with this hand on top, but we bring the hands a little bit lower, and as we do the block, we cut flatter across the body. We're also going to reach a little bit lower, so where with the low block with the outer forearm, we were blocking to here, okay, we're going to reach a little bit lower with this knife hand. So as we've opened the hand, we've changed the blocking tool from here to here, so we can reach that much lower, okay? And that means we're going to be in contact with a different part of the attacker's foot if they're throwing a front kick. To perform the block, think about all of the same things as you did with the outer forearm low block. Prepare with the blocking hand on top, create your backward motion, and explode to the target. Take one.